Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton, where we are today. Hard Rock Casino Rockford going to host us again next week. Can't wait to be back there as well. Let's talk a little bit about recruiting, guys. And this is all stemming up. We made some noise with some commentary in the last couple of weeks talking about the in-state recruiting and Luke Fickell and the commitment to trying to lock down some of the borders of the state. Some of the things that Coach Alvarez has said made the program so successful when you first took it over, identifying the talent and what the strengths were of the athletes here in the state of Wisconsin. It's also gotten some national attention, some from some different outlets, including on the FS1 broadcast of Wisconsin and Oregon on Saturday night. If you heard it and want to hear it again, or if you haven't heard it and this is your first time, here's what Tim Brando, who was on the play-by-play call, said during the game.
At all. The noise is out there. And they've been banging on the doors at Camp Randall. A lot of no-shows for home games, and he's aware of it. I mean, it's something that he has mentioned more than just a couple of times this week. And with all these podcasters out there now that want to say, well, the relationships with high school coaches just isn't there anymore. How much do they really, really know? Probably not much.
So that's Tim Brando. So he's either talking, because there were 3 big clips that went viral. He's either talking about us, which I have a hard time thinking he's going to say Barry Alvarez and you guys don't know anything about, that we're podcasters who don't know what's going on. He's either talking about Brad Nortman, our teammate at ESPN Milwaukee, Kyle Breston Nortman, weekday afternoons from 2 to 4, where he's a former punter for the University of Wisconsin, a Big Ten champion, played in a Super Bowl. I think he knows what he's talking about. He's well connected with high school coaches across the state. Or he's talking about Big Cat from Barstool, one of the most successful podcasters on the planet. So it's one of the 3 that he's probably talking about. Coach, do you know Tim Brando at all?
I do.
And what did you?
No, I haven't talked to him.
Okay.
And I didn't. I never heard that.
So that's the first.
I don't listen to Tim Brando.
Well, he was getting some flack for the call on Saturday. I'll just say that. But
yeah, hold on. Did Big Cat go into recruiting at all? I didn't. The snippet that went out, I didn't see anything about.
Yeah, he had the viral clip that was more discussing the state of the program.
Big Cat is a Wisconsin graduate.
He's from
He
Wisconsin.
talked about recruiting on that? Not on that snippet, though.
I don't think he's from Wisconsin.
Or he's not. Yeah, you're right.
On the one that went viral,
yes.
that clip that was about 2 minutes, wasn't much about that. It was more about
state of the program, morale around the program.
But I didn't hear anything about
I don't think he addressed recruiting in that clip. Yeah.
Nortman, though, he went after it.
He did. And
so he's the bad guy. Dude, I've been telling you, the punters have been the ones to blame for the whole thing.
But if you take a look at what
let's be real here.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
English ready to go.
Let's be real.
Derek's been fired up on this for 3 weeks.
Tarek, how many alumni did we just see at our 3-time 90s Big Ten Rose Bowl championship teams? That subject matter come up with our former teammates.
I was just saying, who's to blame? It's not the truth.
I'm
there.
just saying.
It's the truth.
Right. If the truth
kills a man, let him die. Yeah, that's right.
You know
what it is.
It is.
And the eye in the sky doesn't lie.
Everybody. I heard Jonathan Clinkscale call into who's our former host? Oh, Rutledge. I heard him call into his show and said the same thing. You know, and he works with the Madison Fire Department. Mm-hmm. You know, he's involved in the community. You know, he's raising his family here. He's out in some part. You know, you just start naming guys. Every single guy. We know guys that we played with that are involved with different high school training, you know, that know the coaches across the state. I just feel, you know, if there's one thing about this great state is our football program needs to, and our fans, Badger Nation across the country, demands communication and transparency. And I truly feel we're not getting either, and I feel like the high school coaches across this state are not receiving that. And I feel it's hurting our recruiting. I'm looking at this list right now, 1 through 20. We got one guy.
20. What does that represent?
So this is the 2026 recruiting class. So we're looking at the seniors this year in high school who are graduating this spring.
Let's just start with the big palookas, as Coach would say. So 8 of them are in the top 8 or 9. 8 are in the top 9, and not one's coming here. Minnesota, Indiana, uncommitted. Wisconsin, Illinois offered. Indiana, we got Iowa, Wisconsin, Purdue was after Tucker Thieneman out of Pewaukee.
Yeah.
He's going to North Dakota. Mm-hmm. Tarek and I walked into Sports Advantage, our good friend Brian Bott, and we saw this kid, Beckett Schreiber, in backyard, Madison Memorial, and he looks like he could play on Sundays. And I'm not joking, Tarek. I mean,
he's an unbelievable physique.
Washington State, he's committed to, but Bostad's from Indiana's on his ass right now. Like that needs to be rectified. Like, that is number one. I don't want to talk about NIL. We don't have enough money and everybody crying about that. We need to go after our kids in this state. Look, turn it on Sundays. How many kids you see from this state? Last night we're watching TJ. I mean, it's fantastic. I don't know.
That's how we run the ball. That's the foundation. That's the identity, right?
Well,
I get fired up.
The thing that I found, the best players in this state can play any place. They're as good as anyone. Maybe not all our skilled players, but we'll have one or two skilled players. But our linemen can play any place in the country. And so I put an emphasis on building a relationship with the high school coaches. I helped build their clinic up in the spring. I said, I will help you. They tested me. How are you going to help me? I said, I'll tell you what. I will provide a lead speaker every year. I'll go out and get one of the top coaches in the country, and I'll bring him in. I'll pay for it. And then I'll help you line up some other coaches. We'll bring you guys line up your high school coaches. I'll help you with some of the top ones around the country. And we built a clinic here. They're coming in from all over, primarily the Midwest, but we had a few Texas guys would come in because they saw the headliners for our clinic, and we'd fill. We were up around 1,000 people, 1,200 people out at the Marriott. They had to move it. They used to do it when I got here. They were doing it upstairs at the concourse. It was upstairs in that little room. I don't know how many guys were there, probably 50. And we took it up around 1,000. And we had the top guys in here, and their eyes were this big around. I promised them I'd go speak at their clinic.
I was a witness. So Coach Renout, he'd have the penthouse. He'd have every top coach from Tom Taraska, the guys, whatever.
Arrowhead slinging T-shirts. Right?
Yep. Yeah. And we had like Catholic Memorial. You had the guys from up north. You had Kimberly, and we're sitting in a room. He's holding court with all around a round table, and we're all sitting there telling stories and having a good time. And you'd have Rich Rodriguez. You had Majors. Remember the Tennessee coach Johnny Majors. He had all these superstars, and so they all felt like they were part of the team, part of the deal, and all the kids would naturally want to come to our school.
I mean, how imagine if we look at all the walk-ons. I mean, just safeties to linebackers to interior linemen to. I mean, those are, like Coach said. Yeah, we had to go to Jersey. We had to go get some running backs. Happened to be a Heisman, one of them. Happened to be the best player in the NFL today, in my opinion, and Jonathan Taylor from Jersey. So we go get those guys, but the core foundation, right up the middle, can get right here in this state.
Think about it. He's from Minnesota. I'm from Connecticut.
Here's a list right here. Walk-on team captains.
Look at this.
Look at all these. Look at
this.
And then go for just take a look at that.
This is walk-on team captains. Look at this. Joe Panos, Bobby Adama, Donnell Thompson, Jason Doring, Donnell Thompson, Jason Doring, Jim Leonard, Kenny DeBush, Ben Strickland, Luke Swan, Chris Maragos, Brady Ewing, Ricky Wagner, Alex Erickson, Joe Schobert. Holy cow.
That's an incredible list of names.
Move that around. We'll show you the ones that played in the pros.
You got Sitchy, Fumagalli, Connolly.
Yeah. A lot of NFL guys on that list. That's incredible.
Right there.
There's the NFL right here.
Yeah, there it is.
Panos, Cascadden, Schneck, Tauscher, Thompson, Bennett, Bickerstaff, Doring, Catula, Leonard, Hubbard, Maragos, J.J. Watt, Ewing, Ricky Wagner, Aberdaris, Erickson, Schobert, Stave, Ogunbwale. I hope I said that right. Ramchek, Sitchy. Holy cow.
He's got a whole team working for him.
So it's all in the state of Wisconsin. That's in-state.
Yeah. In-state walk-ons.
In-state walk-ons that ended
all
up
in the NFL.
having Hall of Fame careers, some of them. Yeah, remarkable.
Coach, what did you do? You locked down the borders when you came here.
I told them when I came in, I'm going to build a wall around the state. I'm going to keep the best players in state. Then I'm going to go out and I'm going to try to get the next level players to come here and give them an opportunity to earn a scholarship. And I sold that to the coaches. And they told me, you want us to support you. What will you do for us? I said, I will do anything you want as far as opening my offices, providing film, allowing you to come to practice. I'll help you build your program. And the better we get, the more exposure we'll give you to us. And we lived up to that, and they appreciated it.
So, and this may seem like a very basic question, but I think it's important to set this for everyone. Why was that so important for you to do?
Because the players here are as good as the top players here are as good as any in the country, and no one's paying attention to them. So you have a better chance. I mean, it's just common sense. You have a better chance at recruiting someone that lives a half hour away, or an hour away, or 2 hours away, or 2.5 at Green Bay, or whatever to Milwaukee. In state, they can drive here. Their parents can come here and watch them. And they're as good as anybody you can get. And your chances of getting one of the better players, best players in Ohio State's going to get the first pick. And they're going to drive through the whole Big Ten area, the rest of the Big Ten to get to you. And so your chances diminish the further you get away. I'm lucky to get a guy like Tarek. And Derek, that was an easy drive. He didn't want to go to Minnesota.
No, I did not want to go to Minnesota.
Like, you don't want to commoditize the whole recruiting thing. Like, what come down to this dollar or that. He's going to have – you have plenty of opportunity to get in front of that kid and sell him. And they, like Coach said, he has as much talent as anybody else, at least the top 5. And then you're going to get him, and then you're going to keep him. Because you know what? They want to be here. They have that sense of pride. And you know what? If you don't pay him maybe you don't pay him the full price, but you pay him close, and he's like, okay, it's good enough. I want to be here.
Let me tell you something. We have a great city
That's,
and an unbelievable campus.
yeah.
If I could have recruited in the spring and summer, instead of having to bring the guys in
February,
December and January and sign them in February,
yeah.
I'd have go to them all. If I bring them here with people and I take them out behind the Union out at the lake in the spring, just before school lets out.
Tarek and I would have enrolled right there, Coach.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have gone home. You'd have been faxing stuff back and forth.
I never went to a game. I just came and liked what he was selling.
Yeah, you know what? We're bringing them in here in December, January, signing them in February.
Yeah.
And we'd have to show pictures and videos of what it looked like in the spring. And they'd look out. I had a kid. This is no kid. I had a kid look out. I'm at the back of the Union. And I'm looking at this glass at the Union. And you're looking out there. And the lake's frozen over. And you've got all these fishing huts. This kid looks at me and he says, Coach, I don't understand. Why isn't any of that property developed out there?
Oh, my God. Remarkable. Fair statement.
That's fantastic.
So I do want to bring one more thing up here before we move on from the recruit. This is a great conversation, by the way. Luke Fickell did address a little bit of this last week, in the middle of last week. So, again, this conversation's been going on nationally. There's noise. You heard it mentioned on the broadcast. So Luke Fickell addressed it. We don't have the audio to play, so I will read you the transcript of what he said here. This is, again, quoting Luke Fickell. You got to have guys that when they walk in the door know what it's all about, what it means, and what rivalries are like. That's where it starts. And then the guys like a Mason Posa, who aren't from here, maybe didn't grow up even in Big Ten country, once they get here, they recognize how powerful and strong it is, and then they have the same feeling. But it's got to start with guys from within as much as anything. No matter what the situation is, those are the guys that still help us to battle through some of these tougher times. We can't find enough of those guys. The more that we can find like those guys that when they do get here, whether they have to earn it, they have to work for it, they have to develop for it, they have the opportunity to help us on the field. That's where the core and the crux of this thing has got to continue to grow.
Probably 20 right here.
So is he talking about the current guys from Wisconsin that are from the state of Wisconsin? Or is he talking about future?
He's talking about addressing the future, but
in-state Wisconsin.
Yes, how you build your
Okay.
program. You have to have people who understand the value. And you know where this all started with? Sean West, the punter. Sean West, the punter from Homestead, who did the fake punt against Ohio State in the fourth quarter a couple weeks ago.
Called his own shot.
He called his own shot.
Called his own shot.
He's an in-state guy. He knows how valuable the opportunity is. Now
How
he's
good
earning
is
more
that?
playing time.
I mean, it's good and bad when the punter's
Yeah,
making
the
executive
punters.
decisions.
Well,
that,
I mean, it's not.
You know what? He
Yeah.
watched every punt. He watched that team defend every punt and watched them bail. And smart enough to know he could become a hero.
He did acknowledge he wasn't exactly sure it was 4th and 19 when he ran for it against Ohio State. A
There's
little
nobody
further to
looking
go.
at it. They're all running. They're all with their backs running. They're running faster. They're getting further away from him.
So I do think it's important to mention that Coach Fickell did address that publicly last week, because it does show me as a fan and someone who wants to see the team succeed that it seems like that message is starting to resonate with him when he hears it, whether it's us or Brad Nortman or anyone nationally. Like you're starting to recognize that, yes, there is that emphasis on the significance of what it means to have guys who value playing at Wisconsin, not just for money, but for the pride of putting on that Motion W logo on their jerseys, on their helmets. How important that is to build
the more we get
the
into
program.
the dollar world, right, and asking for money, you should realize that, like, these kids here in Wisconsin want to play here. They want to be around their family, and they have that affinity for the school.
Hey,
and so
Tarek,
give them a reason to stay.
Like, you played at Carolina, Cleveland. I was out in New York. But, all three of us made Madison our home for a reason. This is a great place to be and live. Like, it is.
It's easy to sell.
It's easy to sell. Never mind the campus.
Great school.
I mean, it is
great place to live.
I think the core foundations here, it's up to Coach Fickell, his staff, to literally do what Coach Alvarez did and put walls across this state. And we're not letting you out of here.
It starts with building relationships with the high school coaches and getting to know the high school coaches and letting them know that you're going to help them any way they can. Your campus, this is what I did. Your campus is open. Our offices are open. We're going to help them. We would go out in the state. We'd put on clinics in different parts of the state for them. They're always welcome to come to our office. We'd send them film, et cetera. In spring, everything was open.
And, Coach, I remember we had coaches from Oshkosh, Whitewater. They would come visit, and those guys had relationships with the high school coach. So and if the Whitewater guys, Oshkosh guys, has the guy that could play, well, they're going to send him to us because of the relationships Coach built. I mean, they're literally in the film room.
You got to work it. You got to work it, and you got to let the coaches, the players, and the coaches in the state. You got to do everything you can because you want the high school football in the state, to be as good as it can possibly be. And that because we're going to get big palookas in this state, and the more you develop them in high school, I mean, the easier it is to spot on film, and these the guys that you want to take, the guys you want to give an opportunity to as a walk-on, etc. But it's all about building our program.
He's listed